Hey everyone, Carl here with Littleroot Lessons, bringing you a deep dive featuring Suicune today. Suicune is one of the 3 legendary beasts that is seeing a significant uptick in play, as it is a decent answer into Zacian and has the decent bulk to where it can be a check into Xerneas and Kyogre. But before we get started on all that, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, comment down below who you want to see me cover next week. I'm running out of Pokemon to cover for deep dives as we're fast approaching the end of Series 10. When this goes live, I think we'll have one more week of September and then all of October, and then we're into Series 11 and Diamond and Pearl remakes and all that fun stuff. So definitely get your restricted picks in, get all your other niche picks you want to see covered in. Would love to hear back from y'all. Suicune has a unique role in this format as a Tailwind setter that isn't Flying type. This is not something we commonly see in Pokemon, as it kind of just like it carried over. There was a lot of cool Tailwind setters that got introduced in the Crown Tundra that we normally don't use or normally don't see, and Suicune is one of them. Outside of Tailwind though, Suicune boasts decent bulk and its water typing and the ability to Inner Focus, making it a very reliable support for a lot of Pokemon teams. After being introduced in the Crown Tundra DLC, Suicune has seen some decent play in most formats since it's been introduced. We saw a decent amount in Series 7 as a Tailwind setter. We saw the same thing in Series 9 as like a bulky Tailwind. Series 8 saw it kind of adapt into this bulky Snarl, Icy Wind kind of setup because we weren't as reliant on trying to get Tailwind up and doing speed control things because Trick Room was very popular. And alongside its trio of Entei and the lesser played Raikou, the legendary dogs, beasts, whatever you want to call them, have actually had a decent impact on the Sword and Shield meta. We covered Entei about a month ago now, and it has been really popular since then. Scarf Entei is really good right now, just throwing that out there if you've been living under a rock. Suicune, like we're talking about today, is very bulky and it's good on these teams that have issues with Zacian and Xerneas and Kyogre. And Raikou, to its own extent, can do its own thing, having only one weakness to ground types and being able to just outspeed a lot of the format with your base 115 stat. You can slap a Choice Scarf on it, and I think you can get pretty close to getting to Alecki. You're not going to pass it, but you can get pretty close to those slower Alecki sets looking to do certain things. Common partners for Suicune tend to be more offensively oriented because Suicune makes for a great bulky support Pokemon. Things like Landorus, Regieleki, and Zacian are super duper common alongside it, and even Incineroar to an extent. Incineroar, Rillaboom, Suicune makes a real good core to kind of build for Fire, Water, Grass, mainly because you get access to Intimidate and Fake Out. You have speed control with your Suicune, and then Rillaboom can be like this priority attacker with Fake Out, Knock Off, and Grassy Glide. It makes for a real good trio, and it's super duper common when we kind of just see what Suicune is doing. When we look at the metagame breakdown for moves, this Scald should probably be at 100%. It was like 99.1 when I did the math, but Scald should definitely be at 100% here because it doesn't really get any other good water moves outside of Scald. I think you can run. I think he gets Hydro Pump, but you're not really wanting to run Hydro Pump anytime soon because just accuracy checks. But Scald is the best water move for Suicune, especially if you're a support style Pokemon because you're fishing for burns, you're looking for that guaranteed damage and things like that. Snarl here at 95%, also super duper common. It's real good on a Suicune because a lot of the things that beat up Suicune are special attackers outside of Rillaboom. Tailwind, 89%, like I said, real good speed control. Icy Wind, for that matter, also the kind of the same vein, real good speed control options here. Roar is something that we've seen as a tick up in popularity as Pokemon try to become setup Pokemon with like Substitute or Geomancy in the case of Xerneas. Roar being able to bypass those things, being able to just negate those things and just send them back where they came from is really good. And then there are a few that run Helping Hand. You don't really ever want to run Protect on your Suicune because it's so bulky. There are Protect sets which are fine, but it's just not super duper common. As for common items, things like Leftovers and Safety Goggles tend to be the common things you see. Amoonguss is a real good check into an opposing Suicune, so it's why we're starting to see the adaptation of Safety Goggles Suicune. As for the Leftover sets, you just want to be bulky and try to heal up as much HP back as possible after you get hit, so Leftovers makes the most sense there. Same kind of thing with Citrus Berry and Wiki Berry, just looking to heal back HP. And then the Wakan Berry is a cool tech to where we survive Regieleki pretty easily and can still spec to survive like Wood Hammer from Rillaboom. When we're looking to build with Suicune, Suicune by itself lacks really high damage output, which can be an issue in this format that's kind of leaning towards aggression and hyper offensive. So you need to make sure you choose your teammates wisely. Like I mentioned, Landorus, Rillaboom, Incineroar, Suicune is just a real good 4-mon core. Slap a Zacian on there, slap a Regieleki on there, you have a real good team. As a Suicune player, you need to be very wary of grass types. They are super common right now in Series 10. Like we mentioned with the Kyogre set last week, there's like Rillaboom, Serena, Amoonguss, Venusaur starting to come back. So you definitely need to be on the lookout for all those grass types that can deal a ton of damage into your Suicune without little effort. And kind of just like to help you with that, using partners like Incineroar or your own grass type. Like I mentioned, Rillaboom's a real good partner alongside Suicune. I've seen Amoonguss with like Pollen Puff as a good partner into Suicune too. Just something to check those opposing grass types will help your Suicune out in the long run. When we're looking at movesets for Suicune, Suicune's natural bulk and water typing make it really good at taking just hits in general. You get to take water type attacks, fire type attacks. You can take steel type attacks from Zacian. You have enough special defense that you can usually take a Moonblast from standard Xerneas, things like that. However, you can also build offensively if you are really inclined to do so. You do have access to things like Ice Beam, and like I mentioned, Hydro Pump earlier. As a legendary beast, you do have decent coverage and decent offensive options. It's just you will end up lacking a lot of the utility that Suicune offers. Like in this first set here, we have access to Icy Wind, Helping Hand, and Tailwind. So we have all of the speed control we could ever want, plus we get access to Scald to kind of just chip away at our opponents. And then the Wakan Berry set, like I mentioned, lets you spec to survive certain grass type moves while also not having to worry about Regieleki as much. This set gets to run Roar and Snarl instead of Icy Wind and Helping Hand. And as for this last set, it's just a little bit more of a bulky set. This can also be an offensive set because you get access to Calm Mind. Calm Mind Kyogre is something we're seeing tick up in popularity a little bit more. And you can do kind of the same thing with Suicune. You can take a hit after a Calm Mind, eat your berry, go back up to a decent HP, and then just Scald and Ice Beam down your opponent's Pokemon. When you're looking to beat up Suicune, it's very, very bulky, but it can't actually survive everything all the time. Milotic is one of the Pokemon that I think about when I think of water types that can be like, I have enough bulk usually to survive a Grassy Glide from Rillaboom, but I also survive Thunderbolt from Modest Alecki. Suicune kind of lacks that, I feel like. If I remember correctly, it's harder to get all of those into your equations. So having a unique or niche answer to Suicune can usually catch your opponent off guard. Things like a Power Whip Serena that is spec'd to beat it up and stuff like that. Suicune teams usually look to play fast with Tailwind, so a well-timed Trick Room or Taunt can turn the speed advantage into your favor. Usually those teams on Suicune are always fast to begin with, so I recommend Trick Room if you have it. Taunt is a fine option if you have your own Tailwind as well, but it can be a little bit problematic if you're just trying to sit there and play the support game against the Suicune while the Suicune's partner is taking you out. And Suicune usually isn't winning any 1v1s by itself, very quickly anyway. Scald usually can chip away at you, and if they get a lucky burn, can definitely put them in the advantage. But if you can single out the Suicune and do like the all my friends are dead syndrome to it, you can easily pin it down to take it out. So to wrap up with Suicune here, the sheer amount of grass types and Regieleki that are popular in Series 10 give a lot of players pause when they're looking to play with Suicune on their team. Kyogre, like water types are really, really strict as it is. Kyogre is the common water type we see a lot of the time. Kyogre's even pushed out things like Tapu Fini, Ludicolo's not even being played anymore, so water types are real hard to fit. So it's kind of interesting to see that Suicune is a little bit higher than what I expected it to be. And with all that being said, Suicune is proving useful enough in these previous formats with the same kind of usage of grass types and electric types. that I expect Suicune's usage to continue to rise as Zacian becomes very, very popular again, as Kyogre continues to become popular. So I think Suicune's in just in a real good spot right now, and I expect it to stay there for quite a while. And with that being said, I want to thank you all for listening to me rant about Suicune today. Make sure to check us out on Twitter. Handles are there on screen. Check the Discord link in the description down below. Our community is great and growing. It's where you can talk to us about BGC, Pokemon Unite, fantasy football's going on right now, so that's a big talking point too. And remember to just do all the fun YouTube stuff for us. Subscribe, comment, leave a like, ring the bell, all that great stuff. It helps us out a ton and helps the algorithm send us out to new people. And with that being said, have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, right in the world, and we'll see you all next week. Bye, everyone.